All right, well, I think we got the go-ahead to start. It is officially noon, so welcome to State of the Shell. Who's excited to be at PowerShell Conference Europe this year? Woo!
It's so awesome to see everyone's faces here again, and we're gonna kick things off.
Yeah, we are so excited to be here. I'm Sydney. This is Steven. Both of us are PMs on the PowerShell team at Microsoft, and we traveled here from Seattle, yes, to give some sessions, and hopefully you get like a little bit of value out of the sessions that we give and some of the things that we share. Hopefully we provide some maybe new information for you, or at least some new reminders, or get you a little bit excited about PowerShell. But I'll tell you the real reason why we come to these conferences and the real reason why we're here. And that's because we really like to talk to you guys. And so I just wanted to start off this conference with a little reminder that we're here because we really like to talk to you guys. Or you all. And so please talk to us during this conference.
Our number one thing is we always want to make your guys' jobs easier. With PowerShell, with all the tools around it, however we can improve your lives is a win in our books. So please, feel free to talk to us around the conference, but should we get started here?
Yeah, so please, it's as simple as saying hi,
So we'll get started. First off, so PowerShell's 16 years old. We will spare any birthday singing this year.
A little round of applause, though. Happy sweet
years.
16.
Happy
pretty big accomplishment.
Happy sweet 16 to PowerShell. In the US, it's time to get their driver's license, but
I actually have a baby picture of PowerShell from when it was just
early days.
A little baby.
April, is this your baby picture?
Pretty cute, right? Yeah, pretty cute. This is
totally not AI generated, or it's
maybe
creepy.
a little AI generated. So I know in the last session we talked a little bit about AI, but just out of curiosity, who's been playing around with AI? Yeah? You've been using ChatGPT? Anyone?
Hopefully you've been making something a lot nicer than this monstrosity.
Anyone been playing around with image generation? Out of curiosity, has anyone incorporated it into their day-to-day PowerShell workflow? A few folks here and there. Yeah, so as you can see, AI right now is a lot of fun, but it can be pretty hit or miss in terms of the results you actually get.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I use it to write emails occasionally, but not. Let's jump into kind of, PowerShell, the story of PowerShell. That's why we're all here today. Everyone here I know uses PowerShell. It's such an amazing tool and such a powerful tool to help you guys get your jobs done easier. Now, 16 years ago, the world was a messy place. There was all these different tools that you had to work with. And, I'll be honest, 16 years ago, I was pretty young. And you might not think I knew much about the mess of the world that was going on there. But actually, they had me, young old me, working in the data centers too. So that is a picture of me in my dad's data center at a young age of, I don't know when, but I wish I had PowerShell back then. That's for sure. But lo and behold, Windows PowerShell came along and cleaned up this mess. It was able to be the glue language for all these different tools. Commandlets came for consistency, adding value for discoverability and ease of use, as well as syntax that is suitable for scripting and interactive shell use. So you can now automate as well as interactively work with these tools and get the jobs you needed done.
And when PowerShell came around, it was built on these particular tenets. They considered security, testability, supportability, consistency, scalability, discoverability, extensibility, and reliability. And this became the foundation of PowerShell, so that when new technology was added to PowerShell, it came back to these tenets to ensure that it was built on this strong foundation.
Lots of abilities.
Lots of ability. And so with this, PowerShell provided you with a tool set, but PowerShell alone didn't solve the problems. It empowered all of you, and you took PowerShell into the real world, and you took this tool set and you solved real challenges. It empowered you. But the story didn't end there, because with PowerShell came the sacred vow. The vow that if you learned PowerShell, it would be the best investment that you ever made, because with you and your evolution, PowerShell would continue to evolve as well. And with this, we kept our focus on improving the lives of folks working on operations by simplifying automation. And this is really important because when Windows PowerShell came around, the world didn't stop evolving. In fact, it continued to get a whole lot messier. And so then we came into a world that was cross-platform. We came into a world that's multi-cloud, where we're working on things like DevOps and CI/CD, new ways of remoting and configuration as code, and new evolutions and models of managing machines, new things that we have to manage, and new ways to manage containers and other platforms. And so the world got a whole lot messier. And that's where PowerShell 7 came along. And once again, brought together these disparate concepts and gave you a single platform, a glue language to manage these disparate things. But the foundation and the tenets and the principles of PowerShell remained the same. And that's where the sacred vow really came into play. If you learned PowerShell, the tenets of PowerShell actually remained the same. We went back to the same principles. We still stayed focused on security, testability, supportability, consistency, scalability, discoverability, extensibility, and reliability. And because these tenets remained the same, and because these principles remained the same, your skill set of PowerShell was able to evolve with you and with the evolution of the technology. And so once again, PowerShell provided you with a tool set, but it alone didn't solve any of these problems. PowerShell has always been about its community, and it will always be about its community. And so the PowerShell community took PowerShell, it took this tool set into the real world, and it solved real problems. PowerShell empowered you, but you were the ones who solved these problems. And along came the evolution of the sacred vow that has continued into today. And so we kept working to expand the tool set, and we're continuing to expand this tool set. We are continuing to work on simplifying automation to improve the lives of folks working on operations. And that is the vision of the PowerShell team.
Yeah, that is our core value statement, and that's where we're at today. But kind of what's next? What's forward thinking? Of course, the world is going to keep getting messier and messier as these new technologies evolve. Lots of these new kind of disruptive technologies create a bigger mess than at first, before it kind of the dust settles and in the world can kind of become less messier and more consistent across things. And so now we're on this kind of advent of AI, of course, with ChatGPT, OpenAI, GitHub Copilot, Azure, ML tools, Bing Chat. I mean, there's all sorts of this new shifting point towards this world. But we've kept an eye on this as the PowerShell team. We've shifted particular ML tools like the AZ Predictor a couple years ago. And so we've known that this kind of evolution is coming, but it's still something we couldn't predict, the kind of explosion of these tools and capabilities that they have. And so it's, like I said, it's kind of the new mess that's coming along, but we want to, continue to incorporate into our world and to increase success, learning, and discoverability, similar to the tenets that Sydney was mentioning above. We really think AI is an avenue that can really accelerate your work, but right now it might be a little messy. But we hope that PowerShell and kind of as things settle, the mess will get a little bit more clean. But ultimately, we are looking forward, but remaining consistent to our design principles. So we're pushing forward with kind of the mess that we have solved with Windows PowerShell, PowerShell 7, and kind of the new mess that is going to come to the future. We are ready to tackle that battle. And so that's really what we're looking for forward, is looking at the new technologies coming forward, how we can ensure that PowerShell can be the glue language to make sure that you are able to interact with these tools and utilize them to the best of your abilities at your jobs.
There's a quote that was in an ad for the Kardashians. If anyone's familiar with that show, I don't know if that lands for anyone, but the quote is, "The more things change, the more they stay insane." And I think that can really apply to a lot of different fields, including the evolution of tech. And I think the point here is that the more things change, the more things evolve, the world continues to be insane. It continues to be messy, but PowerShell is committed to moving forward with that mess and being a consistent platform for you to manage that mess.
Yes.
And so over time, we've seen various paradigms and evolutions of machine management of ways and approaches to managing this mess. So there's like sort of very early on, maybe it's more like a manual management approach.
Like a GUI kind of thing.
To managing machines. And then there was sort of like more of an imperative, functional based approach to managing machines. And then we saw like an evolution towards a more declarative approach, like a configuration based approach. And now we're seeing the next wave, we're making a prediction, kind of looking across technologies, that we're seeing a move towards intent based approach. And the statement we're kind of making is that regardless of where you might fall in that spectrum, regardless of how you want to manage your machines, PowerShell is the glue language that allows you to manage your machines how you want to. And we are committed to helping PowerShell evolve with this evolution.
And so what we're also committing to is creating a stronger ecosystem for wherever you use PowerShell. So this could be in Azure, this could be in Windows Terminal, GitHub, of course, cross-platform with PowerShell 7, OpenSSH, VS Code, .NET, of course. We're really working this year on strengthening these partnerships so that PowerShell can be the best it can be in these environments to create a stronger ecosystem that you can consistently go across these environments and have kind of the familiarity of PowerShell that you might be used to.
And the PowerShell team does not do it alone. Well, I think we'll get to in the next section the amazing importance of our community, and that cannot be like understated at all. But we also want to highlight some of our other like really key partners. We work so closely with the Azure PowerShell team and Azure team, with the Windows Terminal team, with GitHub and our open source community, with the VS Code team, the Windows OpenSSH and OpenSSH community, as well as we take a huge dependency on .NET. Of course, Winget is another example, and machine configuration are another examples of teams we work really closely with. So we just really wanted to highlight that there's so many other partnerships, and PowerShell really is all about the strong ecosystem.
Yeah, exactly. So how are we kind of doing this? We've been talking a lot of stuff about, going forward, what have we done this year?
So we wanted to just make a little list of some of the things that we've shipped over the past year. And you might be saying, this is a little small, Sydney. I can't quite read this. Feel free to, snap a picture if you're curious. The point isn't necessarily to read this slide. We'll be demoing some of this stuff, and we'll be having sessions on some of this stuff. But this is just to give you a sense of some of the things that our team has worked on and shipped over the past year. One thing I do want to emphasize is sort of the proactive approach we've taken to security on the team, and some of the security features we've shipped, including AMC support and WDAC support, but also just like the way our team supports the tooling ecosystem around PowerShell in addition to PowerShell. But Stephen, do you want to show some of the things that we've done in terms of releasing PowerShell itself?
Yeah, sure. So, of course, these are kind of the new things that we're looking at, but of course we have the core PowerShell engine that we're still continuing to make lots of improvements to. And so since last year, we've had 27 releases of PowerShell. This includes our backporting our LTS, bumping our LTS versions. This includes preview versions, and this includes, of course, our current version, that 7.3 that we're maintaining. I think this week we're going to have a new release as well coming this week. Knock on wood if everything goes smoothly. But of the 27, we've had 8 preview releases. This includes some of the 7.3 ones that we worked on last year, as well as now we have 7.4 ones that we're releasing, and we're really trying to release these every month to get quick, easy feedback and work to create an agile approach so that we can fix things that might have broken or improve new things. We're really focusing a lot on kind of experimental features a lot lately, so that we can try new things to better help you guys in the shell, in the interactive experience, but as well as the scripting experience as well. But let's see a little taste of kind of what we've been doing. So I can read all this if you guys like. We can go through that. I've been told I have all day. We have no lunch after this at all, right? No. But this is just a small splattering of the change logs of some of the releases. Of course, this is only a fraction of the change logs. And of course, if you really zoom in and stuff, you can see kind of thank you to the community members. We love taking community PRs, and we want to highlight those, and we'll talk about those a little later. But so how are we doing this? Should we jump into demos? You guys want to see some cool stuff?
Demos? Yeah.
So we are going to be doing this live. So forgive us if we're a little buggy, but let's jump over. The first thing we'll talk about is did it just change on me? Okay, I will have to zoom in again. But the first thing I'll just highlight that you'll be seeing throughout these demos is the PowerShell predictors. So we'll be using history predictors a lot to kind of help us accelerate the demos. They're great for demos. If you don't want to remember exactly what you typed up, you can, of course, hit the up arrow key, but history predictors are another way to get started there. I'll be doing another session later today called Shell Enhancements that will go a bit deeper dive into some of the new improvements we've made to predictors, as well as some other new cool stuff that we've worked on in the interactive session. So stay tuned for that. But do you want to take it away, Sydney, on some of the...
Sure, yeah. So I think the first thing I actually want to... really quick, how are we on Zoom?
Good.
Thumbs up. All right.
Thumbs up from the back row. Perfect.
Yeah. Once again, reminder to yell if it's not good. Okay. First thing I just wanted to highlight is the environment that I'm currently in, which is Windows Terminal. And if you haven't checked it out, do check it out. Windows Terminal is fast, efficient, powerful, very customizable, super fun terminal to play with in Windows.
How many Windows Terminal users?
Oh yeah, we've got a lot.
Yep.
We've got a lot. Okay, so I don't need to explain too many of the features for you. I'll just name my absolute favorite feature, which is tabs. Would love it if I was only ever in PowerShell 7, probably only ever in 7.4, but I'm not. I work in Windows PowerShell. I work in PowerShell 7.3. I work in PowerShell 7.4.
Previews, yeah. I
love tabs. You can see even here, we named tabs for our different demos so that we could keep track of what we were running. Awesome. The thing I wanted to show with you is actually something that shipped a little while ago, but not everyone knows about it. So I love to just do it because it's a really quick demo, and that is error reviews. So if you can see I'm in Windows PowerShell right now. You can see in the little tab. If I type in error view, you can see that I have normal view. This is the default error view in Windows PowerShell. If you've ever run something like get child item, let's say path, but then you put in a bad path, let's say. Ooh. You've seen this block of red text. We've all seen it before. We've all used PowerShell. Or let's say I've done something like 1 divided by 0. Bam, red text, lots of red text, kind of like overwhelming, a little bit sometimes hard for me to parse out exactly what's going on if I don't know. Really nice new error view that we introduced in PowerShell 7. It's called Concise View. Error views are customizable. If you have one that you love or you preferred the other one, you can change it back in PowerShell 7. So now if I do something like get child item, you can see my predictor, if you saw that, just pop up. Nice little one. It's typically a one-liner. I have it zoomed in so it goes down to the second line, but nice, clean, simple for me to read. Let's try it again. 1, 0. Nice, simple, easy for me to read. If I wanted a little more information, we introduced a commandlet, get error. Gives me tons of information. Nice, easy way to get that. There was a way you could do that before. It looked like something like error, grab the first one, pipe that, right, but a little bit cleaner to just run, get error. Really nice. Let's see if I have multi-error. Really nice multi-error view. You see nice coloring, shows you where it was on the line. Really cool. So if you aren't using 7 yet, one fun thing to do is just check out the error views. With that, I do want to do a quick demo on secret management. Out of curiosity, who's checked out secret management before? About half the room. Okay, cool. I will show you this. I want to show this in VS Code because I made a handy little notebook. Kind of fun. So if you aren't familiar, notebooks are a great way to combine executable code and Markdown. What I used for this is there is an extension in VS Code called Polyglot Notebooks that the PowerShell team contributed to. And so if you download the extension, it'll give you everything you need. It is powered by .NET Interactive. It is a multi-language notebook kernel. So you can see it supports C#, F#, PowerShell, JavaScript, SQL, KQL, HTML, Mermaid, Python. So definitely check out this extension if you're curious more about the notebook experience here. I like this as just a way to kind of like share documentation, but there's some handy things, other handy applications of notebooks out there. So what is secret management? It's an extensible module. It's available in the PowerShell gallery, and it allows you to get and set secrets from various extension vaults using a single set of commandlets, most valuable in heterogeneous environments where you may want to separate the specifics of a vault from a common script which needs secrets. So I'll just show, I ran get command on the module. You can see you can save output. So I ran get command. You can see the commandlet interface is mostly around getting secrets. Getting secret info is like secret metadata. It allows me to register vaults, unregister vaults, that sort of thing. So that's the basics, secret management. It's giving me a warning because I don't have any vault extensions registered. And really the value of secret management comes from the vault extensions because that's where, that's what implements sort of the engines behind where you store secrets. So if you're just getting started with secret management, I would recommend also checking out Secret Store. So Secret Store is a secret management vault that is owned by the PowerShell team, it's supported by the PowerShell team, and it's just a local secret vault. It's stored on the file system using the .NET Core cryptographic APIs, and it's supported everywhere PowerShell is, so it's a really great starter vault. There are other extension vaults out there, many of which are supported by the community. Another Microsoft-supported vault you might be interested in is the Azure Key Vault. And so once you have that, you can also install that from the PowerShell gallery. And now that's going to allow you, once you register that, it is going to allow you to set secrets. You can set secret my secret. If you run get secret info, it's going to show you all your secrets that you have registered. You can see I have tons of secrets because I was doing a lot of testing. Get secret, it's going to by default return it as a secure string, but there's actually 5 different secret types supported by Secret Store by default. And you can also return your secret as plain text. It was a demo, so my secret is secret. But
very secure.
Very secure. Definitely check this out as a great way. If you're using secrets in your scripts today and you're looking for a little bit better solution, I'd say anytime you're using secure string, maybe is a time you should think about, should I be using a secret provider? Should I be using a vault? So definitely check out Secret Store and secret management if that rings a bell for you. And with that, I'll pass things over to Steven, who's got the next demo.
Yeah, so I'm here to talk a little bit about Azure Cloud Shell. Does anyone use the Cloud Shell, the CLI Shell, Cloud Shell? We'll raise your hands. Okay, good amount. So Cloud Shell. Let me just find my window here. There we go. I had to pre-zoom it in. So yeah, Azure Cloud Shell is your always up to date. Anywhere, anytime, any device gateway to cloud management. You can access this anywhere in the world as long as you have access to the portal. It is your pre-authenticated Azure CLI that is pre-authenticated with Azure PowerShell and preloaded with a variety of tools to make your development life a lot easier. There's some really cool things coming to Azure Cloud Shell soon. We're working primarily on ephemeral sessions, so you may not need a storage account, as well as we're working really on a new UX to support new configuration features such as VNet improvements. And like I said, right now the Cloud Shell has preloaded a variety of tools such as AZ CLI, AZ PowerShell, AZD, and so much more. One cool thing is that I'll dive into a little deeper in my presentation today, but if you've ever used predictors, so the AZ predictor is a machine learning model predictor that you can use to accelerate your Azure commandlet usage. It will help kind of predict what you might be trying to do with Azure specific commandlets. That is now pre-built into Cloud Shell as of a couple months ago. So that will be installed and enabled by default into your experience. Of course, you can disable it if you'd like, but as you start up, you'll start seeing kind of the Azure commandlets installed here. Another improvement that we've made to PS Readline is the ability to scroll through different predictor results. So previously, if you ever used List View, which lists out a different all the predictors that you can choose from, it would fail silently in Cloud Shell. That's because the default window size was too small to show it. In the latest beta, we can now press F2 here and see the predictions that the PS Readline Predictor is trying to give to you. So you can see my history. I ran a get child item earlier, and it's using AZ predictors. And as I go down, I can see the other kind of results that the AZ predictor is trying to give to me. So that's some really cool improvements to Cloud Shell. Let me jump back here to our Windows machine here. Awesome. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about Crescendo. So Crescendo is a declarative accelerator that alerts, that allows you to amplify your console commands and turn them into PowerShell commandlets very easily. And receive the benefits as if they were PowerShell commandlets. So one of them that I'm going to show off here is ipconfig. So of course we're probably all familiar with ipconfig, but the bummer is we can't use it to this is a big line of text. I can't act. It's not an object. It's just giving me text, and so I can't do something like select object and get the IPv4 address. It's just going to fail. It's not going to work. But with Crescendo, we're now we've created a module already that can wrap these commandlets. Give you commandlets to wrap these executables to make them like PowerShell commandlets. So now I can do get ipconfig, and it gives it to me in a more formatted view like PowerShell. And of course, now I can do something like select object and get my IP4 address like this. And so there's a variety of Crescendo modules out there. You can use the Crescendo tag on the PowerShell gallery to find a whole variety of modules that wrap native executables into a more PowerShell friendly approach. Jason Helmick, the PM on our team, who unfortunately couldn't be here this week, but he just posted a great video with Drim Truer, one of the original guys on the PowerShell team, with a deep dive in Crescendo. So they just posted that on YouTube, I think last week. And so shout out to them. Just search PowerShell Crescendo on YouTube. You should be the first result there. So if you want a deeper dive into Crescendo, definitely check out that video. Okay, let's check out something else. So as we mentioned earlier, PowerShell ships every year, several times a year. We really try to target for monthly releases, and so there's a lot to keep up with if you want to keep up with everything that's up to date with PowerShell. And so, PowerShell users might become unfamiliar with the new features or changes and improvements to automation. And so now, of course, you can check the GitHub release notes, but we created a quick little module here to help you get what's new in PowerShell in your console itself. So simply put, that's the gets what's new, if I can type, get what's new commandlet that brings you the latest in PowerShell changes in a markdown format in your shell. This, of course, you can do this by installing it. It's the Microsoft.PowerShell.what's-new module, and you can also do it, get what's new, filter by version. So if I want to get 7.0 version, can find 7.0 version stuff. We can also do something that's new is get what's new. I'm going to do daily, which will give, there we go. So it will give you kind of a daily message of the day, which is pretty cool. And you can also do get what's new. You can, of course, do a filter on this. If I want to do 7.2 daily. There is an online parameter too, so you can open up in your web browser too for an easier view. I won't do that here today, but one other thing I'll highlight too is dynamic help. Dynamic help is a great way to navigating between commandlets as well. So if you press Alt-A, it will automatically tab you to your next value in your parameters. So if I don't want 7.2, I can do 7.3, run that. I can go, you know what? My cursor, instead of kind of going back, I have to go that way. I'm going to press Alt-A. I'll get there very easily. Another cool thing with dynamic help is the Alt-H to get the help of the parameters that you're typing. So say I don't know what the daily parameter is doing right now. I can press Alt-H, and inline, it will display the specific description of that parameter so you can learn a little bit. It displays the single section of the release for a version, alias MOTD.
What was that again? What key binding is it again?
That is Alt-H.
Alt-H.
Alt-H. This, of course, is all configurable with PS Readline key handlers. I'll be talking about those later too. But yeah, that's a little bit about Get What's New. Do you want to show off something about
of
some
course. I'd love to.
native command argument passing?
Cool. All right. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is PS native command argument passing. So this is a new preference variable that was introduced as mainstream in PowerShell 7.3. And it has 3 values, legacy, standard, and Windows. So on Mac and Linux, the default value is going to be standard, and on Windows, it's going to be Windows as default. And so it's going to have 2 key changes. One is that literal or expandable strings with embedded quotes are preserved, and the second is that empty strings as arguments are preserved. And so to show this off, I'll do a little demo. So if we're in Windows, I know what. I remember there was a trick to this one, and I just remembered what it was. I'm going to need to... Ooh, did Teams just open? Okay. Needs control.
There you go.
Switching between Mac and Windows, I'm like constantly forgetting my key bindings. Yeah. Thank you. I'm just confused why my key bindings aren't working.
Oh, that's weird. Let's see. Oh, no. Oh, I guess. Huh. All right, well, we're...
Oh, what just happened? This might work.
We can try this.
This might
Let's
just
try
work.
this.
This just might work.
We're really doing it live, so there's always
It's like
a little bit of snafus in live.
I'm like so distracted by it. Stay professional. Okay. Okay. All right. So you can see in Windows, this is going to like keep this all as like a single argument. It's not going to divide us up. So now if I tried to do something like trace command, I'm not used to like typing this all out.
If only we had predictors to help
I
you.
know. Where are my predictors at when you need them? Okay, so you can see like it really doesn't like provide me anything that useful when it comes to debugging. However, I'm going to show you what the experience looks like now on like 7.3 plus to 7.3 or 7.4 if I can figure out how to get out of this.
I got you.
All right. Oh, yeah, that was really simple. Okay.
Ooh. There we go.
Yeah. Is this zoomed enough? I can zoom it more. No response. Okay. Yay, we have our predictors back. Yay. Once you get used to them, it's just like, it's so hard to not have them. Okay, so now you can see that now that I'm on PowerShell 7.3, it's going to divide that up into 3 separate arguments. So now when I go to run trace command to do some debugging, sorry, it's a little bit glitchy, but you can see that I have like 3 or I have multiple arguments now. So this is really helpful now, and I have some better tooling to troubleshoot. So check out the docs for more information on this one. But once again, this is called PS native command argument passing. So definitely check out that one. And then the other one I wanted to show you was PS native command use error action preference. So let me get out of this.
Just say command.
Are you just doing command?
There
Okay, there we go. Get out of this. And this is where I want to be.
Okay. Just hit, yeah.
Cool. We're good on Zoom? Cool. All right. So PS native command use error action preference. So with native commands, they usually return an exit code. That's 0 or non-zero. Non-zero for failure, 0 for success. But native commands currently don't participate in the PowerShell error stream. So in the past, they didn't really work well in terms of error action preference, stop, or continue. And so this feature allows native commands to participate in the PowerShell error stream more natively. And so this is beginning in PowerShell 7.4. So if you want to check out this feature, use the PowerShell 7.4 previews. So I will show you how this works. But beginning in PowerShell 7.4, PS native command use error action preference is set to true by default. And with this preference set to true, you get the following behavior. When an error action preference is set to stop, scripts will break when a native command returns a non-zero exit code. When error action preference is set to continue, which is the default in PowerShell, you will see a PowerShell error message from the native command, but the script won't break. So we can see this in action. So I just wanted to show you guys the script so you could kind of see what's running. So this is my just like really silly, basic, not a native command. Error action preference is set to stop. Get command, the command does not exist. I just added a right output. I didn't stop. I'm continuing on. Don't know why I put this in a second time. This is the end of the script. Now I have this one is called demo stop. Once again, we have error action preference set to stop. I have ipconfig, native command, but it has a bad switch. So this is going to return a non-zero for failure. And then I have this right output so we can tell whether it stopped. I didn't stop. I'm continuing on. This is the end of the script. Cool. So now we can run them. So I'm going to start. I don't want this because this one was hard to zoom in. So I'm going to use my Windows terminal, which is a little bit nicer. So we can start by running it. So we can run the non-native command one just to see the behavior. So we just get the error and it stops. We didn't continue on to the rest of the script. Cool. We understand the behavior. But if we do demo stop, you can see that we get to the line, I didn't stop, I'm continuing on. This is the end of the script. And we don't see the error message. Now if we go to, okay. Ooh.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Okay, cool, thanks. Run it here. You can see that we get to the error and it stops. And so that's the expected behavior now that we're in PowerShell 7.4. So as we expected. And now if we run something like get error, the command we learned about earlier, you can see, oh wait, we are not running the right thing.
Oh, is it in the?
Oh, I know.
It is macOS, yeah.
We didn't update the script.
Oh, you're right. We didn't. Oops.
All right. Well, should we try updating the script and see if it works?
Sure.
Okay. Okay. Oh, it's not gonna work. Well, this demo just broke, but you get the basic idea of it. Hopefully the explanation made sense and you can try it out and it works when you go and try it out. But if you have any questions about it, definitely feel free to ask, but hopefully you get the basic idea. I forgot to update. I edited my script locally and then I didn't push it properly, get issues. But with that, I'm gonna do one more demo. And that is, let's just do this. Okay, so I just want to show PS style. And so PS style was an automatic variable that was added in PowerShell 7.2 that makes changes to the PowerShell engine to support the output of ANSI decorated text. It's a new automatic variable with lots of built-in simple colors, as well as customizations for PowerShell. So if you go type in PS style, it'll show you a lot of the options here. You have a lot of the color options, background options, that sort of thing. But I'll show you just a few examples here. So if we go like this, so we can do like PS style foreground red. So it's gonna like print out, see my red, and my test came out red, but I could also do background is yellow. I can also do stuff with table headers, formatting that. So here I have PS style, formatting, table header. And if I run something like this to get a table, you can see my nice blue table heading. I can also, as another option, I can make it blink. That's kind of fun. Yeah?
No.
No. Okay. Okay, so I'm setting up a progress bar so I can show you guys a couple of things you can do with progress bars too, because there's a couple of fun things you can do with progress bars, and then I'll wrap up my PS style demo and let you guys get back to watching Steven do some fun stuff. Check on time, see what we're doing too.
I'll go speedy through my next demos.
Speed. We know you guys want to get to lunch, so we'll try and keep it moving. Okay, progress bar. Two quick things with progress bar. So hopefully this is also giving you a sense of like the types of things that you can do with PS style. So here's like a blue progress bar. And then just one more thing. So as some of you guys may remember, some of you might still use Windows PowerShell pretty heavily. There was a different progress bar in Windows PowerShell. So if you missed that, you love that. There is a way to use that progress bar. There is a classic progress bar view. So I'll show you that really quick. And while that... Did I do something wrong?
It's view.
View. There we go. There we go. Classic progress bar. Yay! So one last thing I'll mention is that I did mention that PS Style became available in 7.2. If you're on a lower version of PowerShell, there is a module in the gallery called PS Style that you can download to get these features on your lower version. So check that out. It's on the gallery. And with that, I'll pass things over to Steven, who's going to wrap things up with a few more quick demos.
Yeah, so one thing I wanted to show off is a brand new thing that will be coming in the next release of the PowerShell preview, probably this week or next, for piping between native commands. And so this was something that was not compatible in PowerShell before, but now is. In this one, I just have a URI that just goes to the PowerShell repo. And what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to curl that URI, and then I want to decompress it. And so this now works in PowerShell 7. This previously didn't work in earlier versions, but now we can also do some cool things with any kind of byte stream, here we go. So any kind of byte stream you can now kind of pass along through the pipeline and have that work and decompress it and get it working. We don't need to do that again. Well, you get the idea. And so the last thing we want to show off, now where is our PowerPoint? Nope, wrong one. There we go. Okay, we'll go through that. The last thing I want to show off, I'm not going to do it live, sorry, but we'd be remiss to not show a little bit of an AI demo. So like I said, we're definitely looking at AI. One thing we wanted to show off is the Resolve AZ GPT commandlet that we are working on. This is a very early prototype. We're not even sure we'll ship it or not, but we wanted to show off this guy here that basically if you have an error with the AZ suite of commandlets, and I know there's always going to be a few, you can run the Resolve AZ Error GPT, and this will utilize a GPT model that we're training specifically towards Azure CLI commandlet or Azure PowerShell commandlets, and will kind of help you give a recommendation back. There's also some cool AI stuff with the AZ CLI interactive stuff, but what we're really looking at is how do we make AI work for you guys, as well as create a very high bar for quality and for AI tools that we are building. But one last thing I want to show off. One thing I'll just mention briefly here too is we have launched AZ CLI completers.
I don't think it's showing on the
screen. It's not showing. Thank you.
There you go. Yeah.
Last very quick demo. For any AZ CLI users, we have now created an AZ CLI completer in PowerShell. So you can now complete, you can use tab completion for the AZ CLI stuff. It's going to take a minute here. Oh, come on. So there you go. So now we can use tab completion for subcommands and flags for AZ CLI in case you are an AZ CLI user in PowerShell. But anyways, that's it for demos. Let's get to the final bits of the presentation. But more importantly, so that's kind of what we've been up to. Let's talk a little bit about what you guys have been up to in the community of PowerShell. So PowerShell, we've been having huge growth since we first started collecting it in 2020. You can see here at PSConf EU last year, we were at over 800 million PowerShell sessions for that particular month. We started even lower. I couldn't even show the rest of this graph, otherwise it'd be way too small, but we started really low.
And this is just PowerShell 7, right? So we don't have any telemetry below that. This is just PowerShell 7 telemetry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But this last October, we were so excited to announce that we had hit our first billion PowerShell sessions in a particular month. So I know it's hard to see. Yeah, let's give it a hand.
Jason Helmick always likes to make the joke that we're McDonald's over a billion served, but
we were so surprised by this metric and so happy. But that was last October. What about today? Well, we have continued to have been growing and growing, and just this last May, we had over 1.3 billion PowerShell sessions run across the world. We've hit every single continent, even Antarctica. But we've had over 1.3 billion sessions of PowerShell 7. So yeah, round of applause for you guys using the PowerShell and keep it growing. So PowerShell 7 is still growing and growing. But of course, it wouldn't be growing without the amazing community that we have. These are just a small taste of the amazing community members that we have. I know if you zoom in, you might be able to find your GitHub username if you contributed. How many people have contributed to PowerShell in one way or another? Via issues?
Who's ever opened an issue? Anyone ever opened an issue?
Good handful.
Yeah?
Well,
anyone ever contributed a PR to any PowerShell project?
Few hands here and there.
I'd love to see the issue number go up maybe by next year. That's my mission.
But of course, we also want to thank our working group members, a lot of whom are, I think, here today.
Yeah.
And continue the amazing work that they do.
I think one thing we also want to mention here, in addition to our amazing working group members, is just like the commitment that our team has made alongside of our working group members to really focus on community. We've dedicated 20% of our engineering time to focusing just on community PRs over the last few months, and we're continuing to make that commitment. But I guess I would say, like, is anyone here in a working group? Can we get like a raise of hands? Can we just get a round of applause for any working group members? That's really huge for our community. I also wanted to share some PowerShell Gallery statistics because I think PowerShell Gallery is such a testament to just the community aspect of PowerShell and just the ecosystem aspect of PowerShell. I know we're doing a lot of hand raising, but like, any module owners out there? Anyone own a module on the PowerShell Gallery? Yeah? How about anyone ever downloaded a module?
Everyone's hand should be up.
Yeah,
there we go. Yeah.
Okay. Well, on the PowerShell Gallery today, we have over 11,000 unique packages, 220,000 total packages, 300 plus million monthly downloads, and over 8.6 billion total downloads. So really massive usage numbers on the gallery today. We also wanted to share some Windows Open SSH usage data because our team owns this as well. We have over 4 million total GitHub downloads. And one thing we really want to emphasize here too is that our total, our GitHub downloads are just a small fraction of the total usage of this product. Unfortunately, we can't share or we don't have access to the other usage and download numbers, but we did want to share what we do have, which is the GitHub downloads. So Windows Open SSH data has doubled over the last year and is continuing to see huge growth as well.
Yeah, we would love to hear how you guys are using SSH or what kind of remoting stuff you use. So one also cool special announcement is we have now created a brand new public dashboard so you guys can follow along with the PowerShell growth that's going along. You can access it as aka.ms/ps public dashboard. It's updated daily as well as it contains a lot of cool stuff about community members, so top contributors of the last 90 days, as well as top all-time contributors to GitHub. So if you're a contributor and see your name up there, like, that's amazing. But yeah, we have some usage data there, so we want to share and be open with our data to you. But yeah, we'll start to wrap it up here so everyone can get to lunch. So
yeah. Well, if we missed a topic you were really interested in, the good news is we're not leaving. We'll be here all week. So here are a few the sessions that we'll be doing. So we have a few sessions today. Jody's got Let's Get Hybrid. Steven's got shell enhancements, and Demetrius has a Winget session. Tuesday, Jody's got another session. On Wednesday, I'm doing a session on PowerShell Get/PS Resource Get to answer all your questions about that project. Andy's doing a session about PowerShell module assembly dependency conflicts. And Andy's doing a session on the VS Code extension. And then we're all going to be doing an Ask the Experts to close things out on Thursday. So we're happy to answer your questions. But once again, don't wait until Thursday to ask your questions. Please come up and approach us before then with all your questions as well. And thank you so much for bearing with us through this entire session. Please, please, please enjoy the conference. We're so glad you're here. It's so great to be here with you. To get the latest version of PowerShell and find it for whatever machine or installation you want, aka.ms/getPowerShell will link you to our GitHub front page, which will give you all of the install instructions. Please stay in touch with us beyond the conference. GitHub is the best way to reach our engineering team. We do a monthly community call, which our entire engineering team joins, and we give you all the latest updates. You can join us the third Thursday of every month at aka.ms/join/PS-call. We post blogs pretty much whenever we release anything. In DevBlogs, Microsoft PowerShell is the place to find us. We sometimes post things on Twitter. I don't know.
We're fairly active on Twitter.
Our team Twitter is hit or miss, but like in general, we're on Twider.
Yeah, so reach out to us on Twitter anytime.
GitHub is probably the best way to find us, but like,
yeah, and
we do our best.
Sydney, what is this?
Oh, by the way, yeah, I also like got into the PowerShell Hero AI generation thing. This is as a dog. PowerShell Hero is a dog, so I'm also having fun with that. Yeah.
Well, fantastic. Well, thank you everyone for coming again to the conference. Hope everyone enjoys, and yeah.